Hey guys, welcome back to Heels Off at Home, where we talk about everything from life to love to career and more.
So ladies, this week I was actually watching an episode of Insecure, shout out Issa, and I've actually been really intrigued because I'm looking at the two characters, Issa and Molly, and I'm seeing how their friendship might actually be slowly breaking down. So it kind of made me want to know, have any of you ladies actually experienced a friendship breakup at any point?
Yeah. They're the worst.
Swear down.
Do you know what? Yeah, I haven't had one in recent years, which I'm really, really happy about. Like, I think my last major breakup was maybe like 2017.
Okay.
And that was like my biggest one. But ever since then, I had another minor one, like maybe like 2018, kind of. But because of how 2017 was, I just like fixed it quick. Do you know what I mean? But I think friendship breakups are like the worst thing ever. Like,
really?
Yeah.
I think with me, Toni, have you had a friendship breakup?
Yeah, I've only really had one friendship breakup, but it was like a significant one. And that was, when was that? Maybe around 2012.
Okay,
so
a while back.
It was a while ago. Yeah, it was a while. But yeah, it was interesting. It was intense.
What happened?
Oh gosh, without giving too much detail, it's weird because it's one of those breakups where at the time it was a friendship breakup, but I actually had no issue with the person, and to this day, like, I still wish them well. I still think about them sometimes and hope they're well. But basically, I was on like a girly trip. I went to Miami with two friends, and an incident occurred with the two friends, and I took the side of one friend, and it was the friend that I had known for the shortest amount of time, but my decision wasn't based on my connection to the person. Obviously, it was based on like moral principle. Like, I think this person was more in the right. I think they both did things that maybe they shouldn't have done, but there was one person that I felt was clearly in the right. And I think at the time, the friend that I had issues with had an issue with me because she felt like, oh, you've known me way longer, we're closer, why aren't you taking my side? And it was a bit of a disaster, actually, because she got upset with me for not taking her side, and she obviously disliked the other person, and then ended up just leaving the holiday, like literally halfway through. I just got a text basically saying I'm at the airport.
Mad energy.
I got a text saying I'm at the airport. I'm really upset because you didn't back it for me, and I was just really confused because again, without giving too much detail, I tried my best to not take anyone's side, but I think the issue was me not running after her, basically.
Was there, prior to this argument, was there a situation whereby this friend that left Miami might have been needy or had higher expectations of you? Because to just up and leave, that's not just I'm angry about this particular argument and you taking a side. That could have been I've lost a friend, so I'm out. So was there like a gradual lead up to that point, and then she was just like, yeah, maybe Toni's really not for me as much as I thought she was?
I didn't take it personally because she had done that before with another group of friends before she met me. So I just saw that as...
That's what she does, kind of thing.
She's a serial friendship breaker.
No, not even that. But I think sometimes in the context of like being on vacation, I think when you'll be on vacation with someone for like extended periods of time, they can grate on you. And I think maybe that was what was happening with her and my other friend, and they were just not seeing eye to eye. So the catalyst was definitely not me. It was their situation. But I think her leaving was just her own personal coping mechanism. And again, I didn't take it personally because I felt like, okay, maybe some people just need to leave. They need to, they just need to get themselves away from a situation, which is fine. And when we got back to England, it was her birthday, and I even sent her flowers, even though she had not spoken to me since she left or whatever. And she called me to apologize, and then...
That was it.
I didn't hear from her ever again. And I felt like maybe it was, do you get that sometimes you break up with friends not because of a negative feeling, but they stop talking to you because they're embarrassed by something they did?
I haven't personally experienced that, but I can see why that could happen. I've never been that friend that's just kind of disappeared because I was embarrassed, but I can understand why even just thinking about that could just create this sort of like unspoken elephant in the room. And it's like, if you speak to them again, you may have to address it until maybe there's an honest conversation yet again that relieves you from that tension. But no, I haven't experienced it. But Rita, I haven't forgotten you. You've had 2. Let's wheel it back. You had 2 in the space of a year and a half. What happened, boo?
Do you know what though? When I look back, I just feel like when it comes to friendship breakups, the main thing is the communication aspect of it.
100%.
Because it's for like my first breakup. Sounds so like
dramatic.
But it was, do you know what though? The breakups were during like a weird period in my life. Do you know what I mean? And I was going through so much, and I wasn't necessarily expressing like what was happening with me, but it's almost like I expected my friends to just know without me actually making it clear how much I was going through a lot and I needed their support. Do you know what I mean? So that was one of the things. But with my first breakup, with the major breakup, I would say, it was really gradual, which is what I think happens with friendship breakups. Like, it might be just like a minor thing in the beginning, like, you know, you're driving and they just get in a car and expect you to just take them home. And you do it in the beginning and it's cool, but they just do it. They just have this, do you know what I mean? It's like really small things, but
it's expectation.
But you don't say anything. So you don't say to them like, hey, I don't really like it when you just like hop in my car and not ask me if I'm going in your direction. Do you know what I mean?
I've experienced that.
It's so minor, but when you're not in the mood, it's kind of like, yo, I live in Kent. You live in Camberwell. Like, how is this going to work? Like, do you know what I mean? So I think it was just like not major, like little minor things and not communicating about it and not talking about it. And because I'm not like a confrontational person, I would just be like, oh, it's cool, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Until one day you would do something so small and I would just explode. And I'm like, nah.
But is this something that you noticed? Is this something that you noticed right at the beginning? Or did you only catch it at the end before it was too late?
Yeah, I think it's something I realized once it had happened. So I'm the type of person, like, I always like go back and think about things and I always reflect. I'm a self-reflector, like, so I always ask myself, okay, could I have done anything different? Like, blah, 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 blah. So I think upon reflection, I realized that there were some things that I could have done differently.
Right.
And I understand like my part in the breakup. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. Friendship breakups are just so strange because I find women strange because like a woman would forgive her cheating boyfriend. Like she would forgive him 20 times. But then when it comes to your friend, it's like, she should have known better. And that's it. You're broken up. And that's it. There's no going back.
I feel like
and that's so weird to me.
Yeah, sometimes. But then but I think it's like dependent on the individual, because you get a lot of women that don't forgive their cheating boyfriends, and you get a lot of women that ride or die for their friends, and they've actually been friends with their friends through so much drama. So I think it's just kind of like dependent on the person. And like I even wrote about this on Twitter the other day. I think sometimes, I don't know why, but like female friendships have this reputation. And have you ever heard a woman say, oh, I don't have female friends because women are so bitchy, women are so this?
I feel like that's different though. Like when I hear women say that, I'm just like, nah, I don't trust women like that. When women are like, I don't have any female, I'm like, you're in trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's a bit different, but yeah, I wouldn't, when girls say that, because I feel like you need your girlfriends. Like you do that. It's so important.
But I think that like female friendships, sometimes they have the reputation of being difficult, but I actually think it's far from. Like once you meet the right group of women for you, like they are some of the strongest, most supportive friendships
100%.
I think even with that, just kind of touching on your point, Tony, it's almost like, I don't want to make it, you know, a bigger systematic thing, but I do think it's almost like an element of patriarchy, in the sense of, when it comes to relationships, women, we're always kind of told or encouraged to keep our man a secret, hold on to your man, don't tell your girls, don't do this. And that's why it's kind of like, you know, when it comes down to it, I always say mandem loyalty trumps female loyalty. Like, your girl would easily move to a guy that you've seen in the past and feel no way. But I do think when it comes to mandem, they won't even touch you if you even like kissed one of their boys or a boy that they know of. Like, as soon as they know that there was some sort of kind of like connection, they're not on it. But I feel like with girls, we don't really have that.
I mean, maybe my opinion might be skewed, because my friends are never going near a guy that like I've had something with or I like, or
but I've seen situations where it's just like, I just think I don't know, I just think like mandem loyalty is it's a different kettle of fish. Like, they're not moving for anybody.
Again, I guess it depends on the group, because I've seen like guy friends who, like, a guy will clearly like a girl and the boys are trying to jump in a girl's DM and his friends are trying to holler at you even though they know he likes you. Or like, I've seen like guys also snake each other. Like, I've seen that. But I think with women, I understand what you mean. There are some friendship groups whereby they have a lot of issues, there's a lot of drama, but I think those friendships are often built on the wrong foundations. It's not like, okay, we live by the same values, principles, we are connecting on a deeper level. It's built on, you're pretty, I'm pretty, you're popular, I want to be popular, you have this, I want this, we look good together, or like surface level things. And I think sometimes that's where the issues can come in with female friendships, when we start building friendships on like, oh, we look alike, or we both go for this kind of guy, or we both like have this material thing. And I think also with I also think that with female friendships, like, you are 100% right when you say that sometimes patriarchy can come into it. And there's an element of like, I think, what do they call it? Is it intrasexual competition? When it comes to women having always being told that they are competing with one another for male attention.
Right.
And so I think, again, if you meet a group of women, or you meet women who are of that kind of mind frame whereby they need to feel validated by men, or they feel threatened by women who are pretty, who are successful, then what happens is, even if they like you immediately, the minute you do something or you have something that makes them feel like, oh, you have one up on them, that's when the backstabbing begins, the bitchiness begins, which is like a shame. But I think that like men definitely have that element of bitchiness and gossipy behavior.
Oh yeah, they do that. They do that very well. But they're just
it's just in a different way. Exactly, it's just in a different way. What about you, Mercedes? Have you ever like had a friendship breakup?
So okay, I actually, you know what? Now I think about it, I have had a breakup based on it's not even embarrassment, but it's just kind of like, it's awkward now. And then I've also had a situation where we weren't gonna break up, but it was getting tense. And I think it basically, so with my best friend, we've been best friends for about over like 10, 12 years now, since we were like 16, 15. And when I look back at our friendship, I love our friendship, but we've only had about 2 or 3 big arguments. But funnily enough, those 2 or 3 big arguments were always at very transitional periods in our growth. So like I think we had an argument maybe like around uni times. We had an argument when we were just about to graduate and things like that. And then we also had an argument when we were both kind of getting into like relationships and we were kind of exploring that. Those are the only 3 times we've had an argument. And I've always, when I think about it, it's probably because in those moments of transition, you begin individually to see different things and prioritize different things. And I think with friendships, when you start to prioritize different things, that youthfulness of like, you're my best friend and it's only us two, and I don't know, it's kind of like how do I say it? It's almost like, it's like a clinginess, but it's like a healthy clinginess that you have when you're younger. Suddenly, when you start to grow and just transition through life, you realize that, okay, it's great that we're best friends, but, you know, I'm doing this over here, so I'm making new friends over there, and you're doing things over there, and you're making friends over there. And so you almost, if you don't check each other and, like, you know, touch in with each other, then it's like you could start thinking, oh, she's got new friends now, she doesn't need me, or oh, she's got a boyfriend now, she doesn't call me as much as she does, or oh, she's got a new job now, that's her priority, and now doing this or going out isn't a priority. It's just weird. I feel like those kind of moments of friendship breakups possibly happening is probably just like your priorities in life are shifting, and you're not making sure to check into the other person, to update them on whatever growth or understanding or transition that you're going through. And when you don't check in with each other, there's like this room to just assume. Like, it's just, you just assume, you create scenarios, you think, oh, because she's got a new group of friends at work, that you don't matter anymore. And, oh, she's got a new boyfriend, so, you know, she'd rather go see him and not come in and check in on me. I think that's when it just starts to get tricky. So it's like that. We need to check in on our expectations. I think that's what it is when it comes to friendships.
Yeah, because also I think what helped me was that I realized, like, not every friend is for everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that's so true.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So I feel like the problem comes when you demand so much from you're like, this girl is my best friend, so she needs to be my everything. And it's like, actually, like, she can't, you know. And I think
we're human.
Everyone's human, you know, and everyone's going, like, me and one of my best friends, when we had a breakup, it was literally because both of us were going through mad things at the exact same time. And she needed me to be supportive for her and be there for her, but then I really needed her to be, like, supportive to me. But we were both just going through it, and then we just banged heads, and, like, we just stopped talking for no reason. It was just like, I can't deal with you.
And there
Do you know what I mean?
When you think back, did you ever kind of, I think what happens as well with friendship breakups, we never take a moment to step outside of ourselves and our situation and see maybe the other perspective of, you know, that other friend. Well, that's
what I did. Yeah, that's what I had to do.
Did you do that?
Out. Yeah,
okay, cool.
I do that. No, I do that all the time. Like, my problem is that sometimes I do that too much, and I feel like, like, my feelings are also valid. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's not every day I need to step out on myself and think, how do you feel? But also it's a matter of, actually, you made me feel like this. Like, and we need to address that. Like, I get that, okay, maybe I offended you, or maybe I shouldn't have said what I said. However, you made me feel like this as well. So let's talk about that as well. So that's what me and, like, my friend did. Like, we were like, all right, cool. This is what you said. This is how it made me feel. And then I'm like, all right, cool. This is what you said to me. This is how I felt about it. But what made us, like, get back together was literally it was basically like, we just felt like, hold on a second. Like, we've just been friends for so long. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, we can talk about it and it can be resolved. I think I went through a phase in life where it was like, if I had an argument with someone, that's it. Our friendship is over. Like, there's no going back. Once we fight, that's it. Like, there's too much has happened. We can't go back. That's how I was, like, growing up. But as an adult, I understand that it's okay to have an argument. Like, an argument does not mean the end of your friendship. It just means that you guys have a difference in opinions and you just need to address it. And it's 100%. Either you grow from it or you guys don't get back together. And that's also okay, because sometimes you do outgrow your friends, you know? You just want different things and it's just not working anymore, and you just have to move on. But
it is interesting about, like, I get that, you know, we say that we outgrow our friends, but then I just feel like that just put such a disservice to that friend, because at one point we were all on the same page, we all had the same values, we all like the same things. So sometimes I'm just like, when people say that, it's like, it almost makes that friend seem like, you know,
maybe
she's
outgrow.
like bottom of the barrel. Because even
No.
do you know why I say it? It's because in Insecure, for example, going back to Insecure.
No spoilers.
What? We're grown. Come on.
Thank you, Rita, because I'm behind.
Are you serious?
No, I haven't finished watching it.
Okay, there's no spoilers. There isn't any spoilers.
Okay.
But with Molly and Issa, it's almost like Molly thinks that Issa isn't wise enough to, like, I don't know. It's like
On her level.
in the sense like she's not fixing her life as quickly as Molly would want her to. In that sense, like she's not elevating quickly enough, and I'm just like that shouldn't be a reason as to why you're outgrowing each other because one person is excelling in life and the other person is still figuring things out.
Yeah, I think that's like probably a more negative example of someone like outgrowing a friend, because I think like in a friendship it's less about oh, we're not on the same career level or financial level, and more about like growing together when it comes to behavior and principles. Because like I don't expect all of my friends to have as much money as me or be on the same career path as me or have everything that I have in a material sense or like a stereotypical like achievement sense, because everyone's different and my interpretation of success might be different from their interpretation of success. Like that is not what it's about.
But what if it's not even about like the material? What if it's like attached to ambition as well? Because I always hear the phrase that if you're not the smartest person, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get yourself out. So there's always this kind of there is a narrative out there that your friendship circle should elevate you. But then what if you are like your friendship circle should be motivate? If your friendship circle doesn't motivate you, if your friendship circle doesn't push you to the next level, then what are you doing?
But
you can have friends.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but you can have friends that motivate you, that push you, that support you, but they might not necessarily want the same things in life as you. So like, who am I to question ambition on the basis of like what it looks like to you? Maybe your ambition is to have a family. Maybe you want to be a stay-at-home mum. Maybe you want to do things that I don't want to do. Does that mean that your like hopes for yourself aren't as worthy as mine? Like, does that mean that like, I think it's less about like, oh, what do you want to do with your life? And more about how do you approach what I want to do with my life? Are you supportive as a friend? Are you positive? Like, do I feel value in having you in my life as far as like my mental well-being, my emotional well-being? Because if I feel like you are being a loving friend and you are being a supportive friend, you could tell me that you want to sit at home all day and play video games. I might not agree with it. I might want to push you to be the best you can be, but you're still adding value to my life. And hopefully I'm adding value to your life. I might not be pushing you in the direction that you necessarily that I think that you should necessarily go in, because maybe you're not listening, maybe that's not your ambition, but I would like to think that I'm being supportive in other ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah
Exactly, that's how I feel as well. I just think that like sometimes it's like it feels like there's just I hate that expectation of like you and like you and your friends have to be exactly the same, because it's just not realistic. Like
we all bring different things
exactly
to the table.
Like I have friends where it's like, all right, cool, we will sit down and we will be talking about like business. Do you know what I mean? Business ideas, like, oh yeah, we can do this, let's set up something online, let's do this, let's do that. Then I have other friends where we're just talking about family and like, oh, I can't wait to get settled down and what's it gonna be like and what's this gonna be like. Or I've got, my friends were just talking about acting, or we're just not talking about anything at all, we're just silly and we're dancing together or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I just think like there's so many layers to us as humans that we need different things. Do you know what I mean? Like that spiritual well-being, like you need some, like you could have a friend that maybe they're just, when you have a problem, the first thing they say is, yo, let's pray about this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas you might have another friend that's like, oh, actually, I think we can fix it this way. Do you know what I mean? And both is like, okay.
I'm going to flip the switch real quick. Yeah.
I just flipped the switch.
So, I know we've been speaking a lot about kind of like female-led relationships, but have you ever had a friendship breakup with a guy?
I don't really. I have a lot of. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
So I want to hear your stories. So go on then. Like, since
No,
you.
I have. It was, and do you know what? You know when you were like, have you ever not spoken to someone because you're embarrassed? I would kind of say it wasn't embarrassment, but it was just awkwardness. So
Oh, did he try and move to you?
it wasn't even like it was just like, you know when they're like, oh, platonic relationships with the opposite sex, do you believe in it or not? I guess it was just like, all right, let's just see. Let's see.
Yeah.
So we actually
went there.
So we crossed the line and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And that awkwardness of it not working just meant that the whole relationship scattered. And do you know why? It's almost because if you can be such good friends, then why can't you be such good partners? And it's I'm not saying like it, because that was the mentality in that moment, because it was just like, we're such good friends, why can't it work out? Like,
One thing I've learned.
do you know what I mean? And so it's just been awkward ever since, but it's a shame. It is a shame.
One thing I've learned from the dilemmas people send me on Twitter and Instagram.
I saw,
Bruh. Being good friends with a guy does not mean that he will be good in a relationship. Like, some guys are awesome friends, but they are horrible partners. And every time I do question time, there's a woman who says, I went there with my friend, or I want to go there with my friend, or friend. And it's like, it would make sense on a logical level. Like, the things that make a good friendship make a good relationship. For some people, it does work. But unfortunately, there are also people that take advantage, whereby they're fantastic friends because friendships to them might not come with this added layer of responsibility, but a relationship comes with an added layer of responsibility in their mind. And that level of responsibility, I don't know, they either fall back, they detach, or they abuse the trust that you have in them. Whereas as a friend, they felt less precious. They were more comfortable navigating the like relationship on that level.
And
but
it was mad, because with me, I was so upset, because I was like,
damn,
how, what? It didn't add up, if that makes sense. Don't they say that the foundation of every great relationship is friendship? So I was like, why? But looking back on it, it's just funny. I wish we never even bothered, because the expectations, like you said, it's like when you raise the expectations of certain dynamics, it just doesn't work out for the other person.
But also, what's dangerous about it, I think, is that when you go there with your friend, you've seen them in other relationships, so you have an expectation of
when they
how
don't match the energy
they're supposed to behave. So when they're not like that with you, it's like, whoa. When you were with so-and-so, you did this. Why are you not doing that with me? When you were with so-and-so, you did that. Do you know what I mean? So it gives this expectation that's there, that doesn't need to be there, that wouldn't be there with anyone else. Do you know what I mean? So that's why it's so tricky. I actually do think it can work, but you really have to like really manage the expectations. I feel like you have to just say, do you know what, let's scrap what I knew before and we'll start again. Because it's just I've actually had like male breakup, like it, I don't know.
Go on, what happened with yours?
I feel like
we don't talk about this stuff, you know. I just feel like people don't talk about the male friendship breakups because they know why it happened.
Yeah, I feel like it
was it the same thing, yeah?
No, you know what? I think why can't I talk?
I don't know, babe. I feel like you're still rattled.
I feel like it happens when one person obviously likes the other. Like with the guy that I was friends with, we were so close, yeah. But then this guy decided to scatter my heart. Just scatter it. Like, he was just so mean as, like, when it came to that kind of, like, you know, we're together or not together or whatever. And basically, I'll just say this. Like, he basically, like, made me a side chick, which was mad. Yeah.
Okay, so both your friendship breakups are actually relationship breakups that stemmed from friendships.
Basically.
No, I wouldn't say mine wasn't a relationship.
No, mine was a friendship that I trusted, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this guy. I've always felt it in my chest. Now we're fancying each other, this, that. But then he had a secret and he didn't tell me about this whole other life that he had. And because I was his friend, he didn't want to tell me that there was a whole other life that he had, but then was still like, you know, oh, I like you, and basically like made me a side chick. So without me knowing, I was like a side chick basically. So it became
sounds like friends with benefits.
Yeah, so it became.
But
I didn't know that. No,
That's
I didn't
what makes
know.
it mad.
I was thinking, yo, we're gonna get, this is lit. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't. So
See, this is why I don't have male friends, you know. This is all long. Do you hear this?
That's what was mad. So that breakup, so when we stopped talking, it was mad because it was like, we were like, that was my dog. Do you know what I mean? But eventually, like, you know, years later, like, we're cool and we're friends, and, you know, I don't laugh about it because it's not a joke. So we don't laugh about it.
Sorry. It's the way you're just like, I can just imagine him trying to be like, oh, Rita, remember them times? And you're just like,
nah,
it wasn't funny.
Nah, it's not funny. Do you know what I mean? But
I have a question.
And then I had another one where we kind of stopped talking because they've got a girlfriend.
You're just this is the boundary. This is Rita. What?
You know what? Yeah, it's so bad. It's actually.
But I mean, you know, I think overall when it comes to friendship breakups, it literally is about communication, transparency, and expectation. Once you know where the other person stands and how much they value you and how much you value them, I feel like even if a friendship breakup was about to happen, you would reel it back in. And
exactly, talk about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're in it, when we talk about romantic relationships, we're always talking about, okay, if something's not working, let's talk about it, let's work through it, like we can make this work. But then it's like, when it comes to friendships, it's like, oh, that's it. But friendships take work. Like we were saying earlier, the older you get, friendship takes work. It's not like when you're in secondary school and you just catch up with, you see each other when it's break time, you see each other after school. It's so easy. But when you're an adult, friendship takes legit work. Like, you sometimes have to put yourself aside and check on your friend. If they're acting up, you have to like talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to understand when your friends, like, you know, when you have a friend and you're so used to like saving them and suddenly you don't need to save them anymore. Do you know what I mean? That means like a new dynamic has happened in that friendship, and that's
very insecure.
Yeah.
Very
as in the show, because you're not used to it. You're used to saving your friend all the time, and suddenly you don't need to save them anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it just takes a lot of work, man. There's so much dynamics, but it's so beautiful, like, once you get to that place.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. And if you're on socials, give us a follow at HeelsOffUK using the hashtag HeelsOffUK.